Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. For this session, we will continue with the digestive system. We reach up to the esophagus here. So, in the structure of the esophagus, it runs from the pharynx up to the stomach. So, it is a tube that transfers the food from the mouth, so it's run from the pharynx up to the stomach. So through the thoracic cavity, and also it go through the diaphragm. You know that the diaphragm is separating the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity. The esophagus, it is going through the diaphragm, and also the great blood vessels, aorta and vena cava inferior is going through the diaphragm. Those are the things that go through the diaphragm. About the length of the esophagus, it is around 25 centimeter in length. So it is a tube of 25 centimeter run from the pharynx up to the stomach. It conducts the food by the peristalsis to the stomach. So through peristalsis movement, it will conduct the food from the mouth to the stomach. The structure of the wall of the esophagus, it has 4 layers. Which is common, as we said before in the previous session, for all through the gastrointestinal tract. So the whole gastrointestinal tract, it is consists of 4 layers, including the esophagus. About the stomach, the structure and function of the stomach, it is a temporary storage tank for food up to 4 liters of food. So it can occupy 4 liters of food at a time. So it is not a storage, because it will store it for a purpose, for the process of digestion. So during that period that the food will stay inside the stomach, there will be a process, the chemical and mechanical process of digestion inside the stomach. The muscular layer, which will lead to churn and mix the bundle of the food. So the food bundle which is going inside the stomach, it will be churned and mixed of them, physically breaking down to smaller fragment. So it will also fragmenting the food to a smaller fragment. It has a 3rd oblique muscle layer. Last time when we discussed the gastrointestinal tract, we said that the muscular layer, mostly it has 2 layers. What are they? One is going, what we call that? Longitudinal, and the other is circular. So it has mostly all through the gastrointestinal tract, it has the longitudinal muscular layer and the circular layer of muscles. Here in the stomach, it has another 3rd layer which is going oblique. So there is longitudinal, circular, and oblique muscles, which make the stomach wall more stronger. Did you see the difference here? that it has 3 layers. One is circular, one is longitudinal, and one is oblique. So that contraction of it, it will give a stronger contraction. So it will churn the food and it will mix it and it will lead to the digestion. It will help in the process of this. So the mucosal layer, which is produce the mucus, which is the inner layer. So the inner layer, it is mucosal layer that produce mucus, and we said that that mucus, it will protect the wall of the stomach from being digested or affected or getting necrosis from the gastric juices that is secreted from the stomach. Otherwise, if that mucosal layer is not there, what will happen? The HCl, the hydrochloric acid, and the enzyme, it will affect the wall of the stomach, so it will lead to breakdown of the wall of the stomach and the muscular layer. The chemical breaking down of protein begin in the stomach. So chemical breaking down of the protein, it will start in the stomach by the pepsin. So we said the first chemical breaking down, it is in the mouth for which type of food? For carbohydrate. So this is the structure of the stomach, and from the upper part it is connected with the esophagus, from the lower part it is connected with the duodenum. So this is the esophagus and the duodenum. This is, we call it the lesser curvature, and this one it is called the greater curvature. So the structure of it, it is connected from upward with the esophagus, downward duodenum. There is lesser curvature and the greater curvature. This part, we call it the fundus of the stomach. So the upper part, it is called the fundus, and this part, it is called the body. So fundus, body, and this is the pylorus. Pylorus, which is an sphincter that prevents the food to pass directly toward the duodenum. So it will keep it inside the stomach until the digestion is completed. Then it will start to open gradually and let some of the food go down to the duodenum in order to complete the process of digestion, of chemical digestion. So this is the pyloric sphincter. This is a strong muscle here, pyloric sphincter. See the muscle here? And from the upper part, with the connection with the esophagus, it is the esophageal sphincter. Here, the esophageal sphincter. See here the kink, how the curve of the stomach is, and this curve, this will help in the formation of that sphincter. If that curve is not there, in this case, the sphincter will be dilated. And some of the people, they are complaining from regurgitation, that the acidity will come toward the esophagus, and they will have burning sensation here in this case. So this is condition present in many people, and it is different. It might be simple, might be very severe condition that it might need to an operation in order to do it. Then we have those in the wall of the stomach. We have the mucus layer. Then we have the muscular externa and longitudinal muscles and circular muscles and oblique muscles. So the muscles of the stomach, it is coming in three directions: the circular, the longitudinal, and the oblique muscles, to make that stronger. Those racks, see here the fold is, which is there. It is present for many purposes. One of them, that the surface area, it will be more. The other way, that it will lead to squeezing more the food when the contraction and relaxation of the stomach is happening, and it will lead to digestion. So if we are taking a small part or a section within the stomach wall, in that section we have the gastric pits here and the gastric gland in the muscular, here in the muscular cell, here the muscular cell, here the mucus part of mucosa. We have the mucus cell. It will secrete a sticky alkaline mucus, which equalize the acid production. So the sticky alkaline mucus, which is secreted by the mucus cell, it will equalize and neutralize. Not that neutralizing it, because if it neutralizes it will not give its function. So it equalize the balance between the acid and the base. This is, we call it the chief cells in the layer that produce protein digesting enzyme, the pepsinogen. So in the stomach wall, we have the mucus cell and we have the chief cells. The mucus cell, it will produce an alkaline mucus, which is equalize the acidity or equalize the acid production. The chief cells, which is coming down more deeply, it will produce digestive enzyme, the pepsinogen. Those are the parietal cells. We call them the parietal cells. The parietal cell, it will secrete the HCl, hydrochloric acid. So again, from the wall of the stomach, there are three main secretions. One of them from the mucus cell, which is alkaline mucus, that will equalize give a balance between the acid and the alkaline. The parietal cells, which produce the HCl, the hydrochloric acid, that will help in the chemical destruction of the food particles. Then the chief cell that produce the pepsinogen, which is an enzyme. So the pepsinogen, it will be released from the chief cells, and the hydrochloric acid from the parietal cells. It will activate the pepsinogen to become a pepsin, which is the active form of it. So it will be activated when, not just when it is passing through the wall, when it reach inside the stomach, when it is mixed with the HCl, so it will be activated and it will be changed to pepsin. Then we have the peritoneum. The peritoneum is a serous membrane. The peritoneum is covering the abdominal content, the intestine and stomach. So the peritoneum is a serous membrane. It is the largest serous membrane in our body. Where do you find the serous membrane also? In the heart, around the heart. And where? Around the lung, the pleural and the pericardial layer. So it has folded or folds, which is called the mesenteric. If you remember last time, one of the slides, it was shown the mesenteric there, and what was there within passing through the mesenteric. What is the thing that passed through the mesenteric to the intestine or to the abdominal organs? Water? Structure, I mean. Structure. What is passing through it to the duodenum or to the intestine? Huh? You remember there was something like here, I told you that it is the mesenteric, and there are something that is passing through it.
Changing.
What's that? Huh? What does the organ need? Any organ, any structure, any body structure, what does it need? Oxygen. How the oxygen will come? Through what?
Blood.
So what will be there that will pass the blood to the blood vessels will be there. So blood vessels are passing through it, and artery, veins, and nerves are coming through the mesentery. Okay? So this is the peritoneum is covering or going around the abdominal organs. Here in the upper part of is it the left side or the right side? The liver is in the left side or the right side? It is on the right, toward the right side. It is under the diaphragm. And here, the stomach in this section. Here, the pancreas. if you, we are this, what kind of section is it? Is this? From the first unit. What we call this section? Longitudinal section. That cut the body to two equal parts. Sagittal section, yes. Which is longitudinal one. This is the duodenum here, the large intestine, and those are the small intestine. This is the peritoneum. It is also parietal peritoneum and visceral peritoneum. So it is the same as other serous membrane. It has the visceral layer and the parietal layer. We know that all serous membrane, it has two layers. Visceral layer that attach to what? To the organ. The parietal layers, which is away from the organ, which is mostly attached to, sometimes attached to the wall or the cavity, or it depends upon where they are. This is, we call it the lesser omentum, and this is the greater omentum. So this part, it is the lesser omentum, and this is part, it is called the greater omentum from the peritoneum. And those are the mesenteric. Those are the mesenteric. That it has, see, here the intestine, and here the peritoneum, which is going around them. Here. نعم. See, we said that it is sagittal section. So, what is that? This is what you have to know from that. You have to understand those concepts that we are mentioning. So the concept here that the peritoneum, it has the visceral and the parietal layer, and it has within it the, what is this? What we call this? The mesenteric. That will go around, that will give the blood supply to the organs. So the blood will go through the mesenteric to the organs. The small intestine, the major digestion, by the way, in the major chemical digestion, it is in the small intestine. So it is a muscular tube extend from the pyloric, which is the opening of the stomach from downward, which is the junction between the duodenum and the stomach. So it is from the biologic sphincter to the ileocecal valve. Ileocecal valve, it is the junction between the small intestine and the large intestine. So the small intestine started from the biologic sphincter, which is the junction between the duodenum and the stomach, up to the ileocecal valve. Ileocecal valve, it is the junction between the small intestine and the large intestine. So it is the longest section of the alimentary tract. The length of the small intestine, it is from 6 to 7 meters. So it is a long one. It is the longest one. It has also subdivision. It is divided to 3 parts. the small intestine. The first part, it is called the duodenum, which is around 25 centimeter, which is the smallest part in length. Then the jejunum, which is from 2.5 meter in length. Then the ileum, which is 3.6 meter. So the duodenum, it is starting from here. This is the duodenum, starting from the biliary sphincter. This is the stomach, pylorus, duodenum. Then this is the small intestine, the jejunum, then the ileum. And this is the cecal part. So this is the end of and the junction between the small intestine and the large intestine. And you know what is this? The small part here. What is it? It is the most common emergency surgery is done on it. The appendix. The appendix. زائد الدودية. So this is the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. So those are the three parts of the small intestine. So, as we said, here, this sphincter, it will prevent the food from coming out from the stomach as a bulk together. So it regulates the food passage to the small intestine. So after digestion, the process of digestion, according to the type of food that we take, it will take from, depend upon the type of food, it might take 1 hour or 2 hours or up to 4 hours until inside our stomach. Even after the digestion, a small amount will come regularly to the duodenum in order to be mixed with the enzymes, pancreatic enzymes, in order to complete the process of its digestion. So enzyme produced by the intestinal cells, there are enzymes which is produced by the intestinal cells, and the pancreas complete the process of chemical digestion. So chemical digestion will be there. So we have chemical digestion and mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion, it is happened where? Where is the mechanical digestion? Mouth and the stomach. So mouth and stomach, mechanical digestion will be there. Chemical digestion also starts for carbohydrate in the mouth, which is the only digestion for carbohydrate only. Then chemical digestion also in the stomach and the intestine, which is more mainly in the duodenum. Mainly in the duodenum. The duodenum, so we said that this is the duodenum. This is the junction of the duodenum between the duodenum and the stomach. So it is connected to the stomach. And here it is connected with the other part of the intestine. Here, see, this is the pancreas. And what is this? What is this? It is not a tree. Huh? What is it?
Spleen.
Huh?
Spleen. Spleen.
Spleen. This is the spleen. It is the spleen doesn't have any work with the digestive system. Yes, it is present there near the pancreas, but it has no work with the digestive system. But here, this is the thing that we said that it is under the liver. And immediately after slaughtering any goat or anything, you are searching before removing the liver, you are removing this part and throwing it away. مرارة لا تفروش مرارتي. So اللي هي it is the gallbladder. So it is the gallbladder. So and those two canals, they are coming from the liver. They are the right and left hepatic duct. So the secretion and the bile salt which is there inside the gallbladder, they are coming from where originally? They are coming from the liver, and they are stored in the gallbladder. Then they will be secreted. So here the right and left hepatic duct, this is the common bile duct. It will lead to the gallbladder. So the excretion from the liver, it will stored in the gallbladder. This is, we call it the cystic duct. Cystic duct. See here, both the bile duct and the pancreatic duct, they are joining together. The pancreatic duct and the bile duct here, they are joining together and they are opening to the duodenum within the same canal. So this is the pancreatic duct. The excretion, we said that the pancreas is endocrine and exocrine. So the exocrine secretion, it is going through the pancreatic duct here to the duodenum. So pancreatic and bile duct joint from hepatopancreatic ampulla. This part, we call it hepatopancreatic ampulla, which will open to the first part of the duodenum. So it is open to the first part of the duodenum. So this is the hepatopancreatic ampulla. If you come to the structure of the intestine, it has, as we said, it is a tube that it has almost 3 layers, as we mentioned before. So the mucosal layer, then the muscular layer. The muscular layer, there is circular layer, circular muscles, and longitudinal muscular. So there are also deep folds of the mucosal and submucosa. This is the mucosa, this is the submucosa. It is consist, as we said, with 4 layers: mucosa, submucosa, then musculosa, and then the serous layer. Those folds, it will not disappear when it is filled with food. It will remain as it is. Those folds, it will remain as it is. To increase the site of contact and the absorption later, which increase the surface area of the intestine. So it will increase the surface area of the intestine. Those in the mucus layer, there are what we call it the villi. Villi. So it is lined with the mucus layer and it is full of villi, which is small protrusion. This also, those small protrusion, it would increase the بنات. If you have something, just ask. I will answer. So those we call them the villi. Here the blood vessels, which is, as we said, it is coming from the mesenteric. This is the map that you didn't understand. Now we are explaining it area by area. So the mesenteric is coming, and inside it, blood vessels are there. This is the artery, this is the vein, and also nerve are coming within the mesentery. So those villi, it is increase the process, the surface, and the folds which is there, which increase the surface and increase the process of absorption. In the small intestine, those are the villi, حليمة. So inside those villi, see, there are also blood vessels are coming. This is the capillaries, this is the arterial part, which give the oxygen and nutrient to the cells here, and this is the venous part that it will lead to absorption. What is the green one here? What is the green one? The lymph, yes. So it is the lymphatic vessels that will absorb also most of the intestinal, it will go for processing before it is going toward the blood vessels. Small intestine also contain bare patches. Bare patches, did you remember the bare patches? What is it? Bare patches. We said that it is similar to the tonsils. Similar, it is a lymphatic. So that bare patches, it is similar to the tonsils. So within the submucosal layer, there is the bare patches. That is lymphatic. Those are the artery, veins, and lymphatic capillaries are there. Blood capillaries here, and microvilli is there also in the ampulla. There are micro, we call it microvilli. It's like a brush in construction. So it will be absorbed through those microvilli. The small intestine, from the function of it, is the absorptive cells. So it will lead to absorption. Those are the microvilli here. And this is the ampulla, microvilli. So small projection of a plasma membrane of the absorptive cells. So it is small projection. It has a plasma membrane and absorbable cells that will absorb the nutrient and the needed material from the inside the gastrointestinal tract. So absorptive cells are there. Simple columnar epithelium. It is composed from simple columnar epithelium. The structure of the microvilli. So this is, we will stop here. So we'll reach up to the small intestine and its function. We will take a 10-minute break and we will come back.